Albert Einstein. The name alone has become a synonym for genius. Even people who know almost nothing about physics recognize him instantly. The wild white hair, the thoughtful eyes, the tongue playfully sticking out in that iconic photograph. But the true legacy of Albert Einstein is far deeper than a few cliches or pop culture references. It's the story of how one man, armed only with curiosity, stubbornness, and a mind that refused to accept easy answers, reshaped not just the world of science, but the way humanity sees reality itself. His influence has echoed far beyond physics, into philosophy, politics, culture, and even our collective sense of wonder. Einstein was born in 1879 in the quiet city of Ulm, in the German Empire. Contrary to popular myth, he wasn't a poor student, nor did he fail math. He was, however, a bit of a late bloomer when it came to speaking, leading his parents to worry about his development. But by the time he was a teenager, he was already devouring advanced mathematics and pondering questions that most people never ask in a lifetime. He had a stubborn independence. He disliked rote learning and resisted the authoritarian style of education that was common in Germany at the time. That independent streak would become one of his greatest assets, but also one of the reasons his early career wasn't easy. After finishing school in Switzerland, Einstein found himself unable to secure an academic job. Instead, he worked at the Swiss Patent Office reviewing technical inventions. It was there, away from the pressures of academia, that his mind was free to wander. The patent office became his quiet laboratory of thought. And then, in 1905, something extraordinary happened. That year, known as his Annus Mirabilis or Miracle Year, he published 4 groundbreaking papers in the Annalen der Physik journal. Each of these papers could have secured a scientist a place in history. Together, they changed physics forever. One paper explained the photoelectric effect, showing that light could behave as discrete packets of energy, what we now call photons. This work would eventually earn him the Nobel Prize in 1921, though the award came many years later. Another paper provided experimental proof for the existence of atoms by explaining Brownian motion. Yet another introduced the special theory of relativity, with its now famous equation E=mc², revealing that mass and energy were interchangeable. This idea didn't just revolutionize physics, it laid the groundwork for nuclear energy, for better and for worse. The fourth paper dealt with the dynamics of moving bodies, redefining space and time themselves. For Einstein, these were not separate, absolute entities, as Isaac Newton had described, but part of a unified continuum spacetime that could bend, stretch, and warp. These were ideas so radical that many scientists initially resisted them. But Einstein had something rare, a combination of mathematical elegance and physical intuition. He didn't just crunch equations, he thought in images, in thought experiments. He imagined riding alongside a beam of light, or being in an elevator in deep space. He asked, what would it look like? And how would it feel? Before he asked, what would the math say? This marriage of imagination and precision is part of what makes his legacy so enduring. He showed that science could be both rigorous and profoundly creative. In the following years, Einstein continued to refine and expand his theories. By 1915, he published the General Theory of Relativity, his masterpiece. This theory extended special relativity to include gravity, describing it not as a force in the Newtonian sense, but as the curvature of spacetime caused by mass and energy. Imagine placing a bowling ball on a trampoline. It distorts the surface and smaller objects roll toward it. Not because the ball pulls them, but because the fabric thereon is warped. This was a completely new way of seeing the universe, and it was confirmed dramatically in 1919, when astronomers observed that starlight bent as it passed near the sun during a solar eclipse. Overnight, Einstein became a global celebrity. Newspapers hailed him as the new Newton, and his fame spread beyond the scientific world. But Einstein's legacy isn't just about the equations he wrote. It's about the way those equations transformed human thought. His work paved the way for cosmology as we know it. Without general relativity, we wouldn't have a framework to understand black holes, gravitational waves, or the expansion of the universe. It's hard to overstate this. Before Einstein, space was a static stage where events unfolded. After Einstein, space itself became a dynamic participant in the cosmic drama. Time wasn't universal anymore. It could tick at different rates depending on how fast you moved or how close you were to a massive object. The universe became stranger, richer, and far more fascinating. Einstein's influence extended beyond the laboratory and the lecture hall. He was a public intellectual in the truest sense, unafraid to speak on matters of politics, ethics, and human rights. He was a pacifist for much of his life, deeply shaken by the horrors of World War I. In the 1930s, as fascism rose in Europe, Einstein, who was Jewish, saw the dark turn his homeland was taking. He left Germany in 1933, never to return, and took a position at Princeton University in the United States. From there, he became an outspoken critic of Nazism and an advocate for refugees. Ironically, despite his pacifism, Einstein's name would become forever linked to the development of the atomic bomb. In 1939, he co-signed a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the famous Einstein-Szilard letter, warning that Nazi Germany might be developing nuclear weapons and urging the U.S. to accelerate its own research. This letter helped initiate the Manhattan Project, though Einstein himself did not work on it and later expressed deep regret about his small role in setting it into motion. For the rest of his life, he campaigned for nuclear disarmament, speaking of the moral responsibility that comes with scientific power. Culturally, Einstein became a kind of archetype. He embodied the absent-minded professor stereotype, though in reality, he was often deliberate and witty. His image, the rumpled clothes, the wild hair, was almost a brand before branding was even a concept. But beneath the popular image was a man who valued simplicity and humility. He played the violin with passion, often using music as a form of relaxation and inspiration. He preferred straightforward living, rejecting luxury and fame as distractions. Yet he understood the power of his celebrity and used it to champion causes he believed in, from civil rights in America to the founding of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. In science, Einstein was not infallible. He famously resisted the growing field of quantum mechanics, even though his own work had helped start it. "God does not play dice with the universe," he once said, expressing his discomfort with the idea that fundamental events could be truly random. His debates with Niels Bohr on this topic have become legendary, a reminder that even the greatest minds struggle with the implications of new ideas. In the end, quantum theory thrived without his full endorsement, but Einstein's critiques helped sharpen its foundations. The later years of his life were spent searching for a unified field theory, a single framework that would merge gravity with electromagnetism, and perhaps eventually with the other forces of nature. He never found it, and some see this as a failure. But in truth, this relentless search is part of his legacy. It shows that science is never finished, that curiosity and persistence are as important as results. Today, physicists working on string theory, loop quantum gravity, and other ambitious projects are still chasing the dream Einstein pursued, to see the cosmos in a single, elegant equation. Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, but his impact has only grown. His theories underpin technologies we use every day. GPS systems, for example, rely on both special and general relativity to provide accurate location data. Without corrections for time dilation effects predicted by Einstein, GPS would drift by kilometers within a day. His equations also guide our search for understanding the Big Bang, dark matter, and dark energy. Every gravitational wave detected by LIGO, every black hole image captured by the Event Horizon Telescope, is a testament to the accuracy and power of his ideas. Beyond the technical achievements, Einstein's legacy is also philosophical. He reminded us that reality is often stranger than our intuitions allow, and that progress comes from questioning assumptions, even the ones that seem unshakable. He showed that imagination is not a luxury in science, it's a necessity. And he modeled a life where intellectual pursuit was coupled with moral responsibility. Perhaps this is why Einstein continues to resonate in popular culture. His face appears on posters, coffee mugs, and t-shirts. His quotes circulate endlessly online. Some of these quotes are apocryphal, of course, but the fact that people attribute them to him says something about the image he left behind. A thinker who was also approachable, a genius who could still smile at the absurdity of life. In an age where science can feel distant and intimidating, Einstein remains a figure who invites us in, who makes the cosmos feel like something we can explore together. In the end, the legacy of Albert Einstein is not just in the physics textbooks or in the scientific papers that bear his name. It's in the way he changed our collective imagination. Before Einstein, most people saw the universe as a clockwork machine, orderly, predictable, and fixed. After Einstein, we saw it as a flexible, dynamic, and mysterious tapestry. Time and space were no longer the rigid background of existence. They were living, changing participants in the story. And we, tiny creatures on a small planet, were part of that vast, curved, expanding drama. It's fitting, then, that Einstein once said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. More than the specifics of relativity or the details of quantum theory, it's this spirit of endless questioning that is his true gift to us." The equations will continue to be refined, challenged, and expanded, but the example of how to think, boldly, independently, and imaginatively, will remain timeless. Today, as we probe deeper into the universe with telescopes, particle accelerators, and mathematical theories, we are still walking paths Einstein helped to clear. Whether we are exploring the earliest moments of the cosmos or the strange physics inside a black hole, we are speaking in a language he helped invent. And perhaps that is the greatest legacy of all. Not the answers he gave us, but the questions he left behind, questions that will inspire generations of scientists, philosophers, and dreamers to come. Albert Einstein didn't just change science. He changed the way we think about thinking itself. His life reminds us that the boundaries of knowledge are not fixed, that the unknown is not to be feared but embraced. And as long as there are minds willing to ask why and what if, his legacy will never fade.